morning or good day. No. I was just busy with our people there at the thing. I was busy with our people there in Etwatwa Daveyton. It's back to school. Hey. So apologies for keeping you waiting. We also missed some live feed, I'm told. But you know some of the problems that we deal with. 1,755 learner material gone. The entire school. The school is best performing. Just crime is. When you steal a learner material, you must have some conscience. What I'm taking now belongs to, you know.
Good morning, Executive Mayor. Good morning, colleagues. My name is Dzanibe, the spokesperson of the city. I'll be guiding or driving this particular press briefing. As you can see, it's a mayoral press briefing. Basically, the mayor wants to share some critical messages, mainly the second quarter performance results for the city, which is the media financial performance results, and the other critical matters that we have identified in the legal space and issues that would have been raised by members of the public. Executive Mayor, the posture we're going to take is that we are going to go through the statement. After that, colleagues will be allowed questions, and we'll allow a situation where we've got one or two round of questions. When a question has been asked, I don't think there is a need to be repeated. So if we will just respect that, colleagues. Executive Mayor, go ahead.
No, thank you very much. You'll tell me if I'm audible. Good morning, and thank you for making the time to join us for this important discussion. On Wednesday, the 21st of January, we held our first Mayoral committee meeting of the year. And this year is a year of decisive action to fix local government and to improve service delivery. That means we will not tolerate decline, will not tolerate decay. We will correct any decline or any decay immediately. And our performance monitoring is one of the strongest tools that we will use. It will allow us to track delivery, hold officials accountable, and step in quickly where targets are not being met. And I have noted the launch of the city manager's flagship service delivery program, fixing the front lines, and it's a program that we've pronounced our support for it. That the new city manager is demonstrating, that agility that we need in terms of attending to service delivery issues. You would know that his background is largely in account, in finance, in governance, and that is a demonstration that really our call for agility, for restoring, services, is actually being, elevated in the administration. So this program, fixing the front line, aligns with the mayor's six key pillar program as an important platform to restore service delivery capacity and rebuild the staff morale across the city. And it's respond very well because, to our call that we must build internal capacity and be less reliant on on external service providers. And it basically focuses on where it matters most at depot level to ensure that there's sufficient capacity, that the teams that are there, they've got capacity, they've got tool of trade, they've got PPEs, that even just the conditions of the depot, the ablution facilities are working, kitchens and so forth. Things that are that talks to at the background, that talks to the condition within which those teams are actually functioning. But importantly, they have tools of trade. They are ready to assume, some of the work that our public have been complaining to say, closing the potholes. There's nothing specialized about it. Internal teams, they should be able to do it. And where you are overstretched, then you can tap to, or where you need a specialized services, you can tap to, contracted services. So this will provide, we will provide on it as the Mayoral Committee and Council a stringent oversight, and we are confident that the city manager will drive measurable positive change that fast track service delivery. So on financial performance, though we've been really under pressure in terms of revenue collection because of the economy, our communities are really struggling, but the city's operating income for the quarter came slightly above the planned budget. We have realized 16.3 billion rands against the budget of 16.307. In fact, it's 16.364 against the budget of 16.307 billion. So the total income budgeted for 2025-2026 mid-year, it means mid-year is 6 months, was 34.3 billion rands, and the total expenditure at about 30.9 billion rands. And we're happy to, announce that the 34 billion rands as budgeted has actually been achieved. So it means all our systems in terms of billing, all the planned bills have actually been billed, and that goes a long way to demonstrate that the systems are actually in place and the systems are working. Of course, what we must monitor now is to collect, because there's one thing to bill and there's another to collect. So that which you've billed, it means I have read what you've consumed, then I have billed you, but you must still pay. And that's where some of the interesting area as well comes, because that talks to our ability to now have cash, to finance a service delivery. So the unaudited second quarter financial and performance results and the mid-year performance assessment for the 2025-2026 financial year provides a clear indication of a municipality that is showing signs of financial stabilization while still confronting structural revenue, liquidity, and capital spending challenges. At the midpoint of the financial year, the city has demonstrated improved expenditure control across a number of departments and entities. The operating expenditure performance reflect restraints helping to protect cash balances and limit further deterioration in liquidity. Encouraging progress has also been recorded in the revenue collection interventions, particularly within the municipal entities. These aspects reaffirm the city's commitment towards accelerated service delivery, more patently in communities incentivized by the city. For an example, the total revenue collection in the housing portfolio improved from 29% in quarter one to approximately 32 to 39% in quarter two, exceeding the quarterly targets by about 7%. And here we're talking about the Ekurhuleni housing a company. You would know that not long, we supported the entity to do evictions to deal with hijacked, buildings. People who do no longer pay in the Ekurhuleni housing company, but who pay to other organized schemes, and that move to actually deal decisively with those hijackers is actually bearing fruit, and it's an area that we've then encouraged the leadership of the entity to continue in Germiston, not just Paro Park. You know that they banned the Home Affairs. They've done another, airport park. The team there, they went and did evictions, and they were successful. We are now encourage them to approach courts to get more court orders. It's important that we do this in Germiston, because if municipal-owned properties are hijacked in Germiston, then there's no hope even for the private sector. There's no hope for us to turn around the situation in our CBDs. So in quarter 2, the collection rate for the citywide was at 85.93 against a target of 90%, which year to date is a rate of about 90.73. And with the December, we do run campaigns around December, so that when people go on holiday, they must have paid for municipal services. But some of the cultures of our people, they rather go away. They come back in January. When you want them to pay, they say they are busy with back to school and all those other things. But they rather pay the DSTV, they pay other things, and then they don't want to pay for municipal services. So tightening credit control, improving customer management, and protecting the city's ability to deliver services. Because when revenue is unstable, service delivery is the first to suffer. And we shall focus our energies on the Siyakhokha Siyathutuka campaigns to emphasize a culture of payment in the city, so that we fast-track service delivery. And on the spending, as we've indicated, we continue to push hard for discipline. Our cash position has improved year on year, with a bank balance of 2.151 billion and a cash on hand of 19 days. Still below the 25% target, but much improved. This is exactly why we're emphasizing discipline in spending and stronger collections, and that they are non-negotiable. On infrastructure, we have spent 1.355 billion rands at the end of quarter 2, and this is 42.89% of the capital budget of 3.197 billion. And when you include commitments, it means this is what we've paid, but what we've already commitment where we're waiting invoices on projects in the pipeline, we are approaching the 50% of capital program. And as we strengthen the revenue engines that fund service delivery, meter reading has improved in the quarter 2 compared to quarter 1. The back billing work is yielding recoverable value, and the city's debt rehabilitation incentive processes are moving towards the rollout. Furthermore, we are on course to renew this institution into a municipality that works, financially stable, physically disciplined, and uncompromising about the responsible use of public funds. And turning to the non-financial performance, our service delivery and budget implementation plan, SDPIPs, the city achieved 66 of the 93 targets, and that equates to about 71% in quarter 2, an improvement from 68% in the same quarter last year. So when you do year-on-year comparison, there is a demonstration that we have turned the tide, and now we are starting to, deliver services at optimal level. What is encouraging is that progress is driven by stronger delivery in key parts of the organization. And in Q2, the social cluster delivered the highest performance at 86%, followed by governance and the economic development cluster at 80.5%, and showing a significant improvement from 73% last year. And at mid-year, the picture remains a similar. Social cluster is at 86%, governance and economic development structure at 83%, and while metro trading services is sitting at 63%. And it's an area that we need to focus on, because metro trading services, that's where the Department of Energy is sitting in terms of how are we responsive in terms of attending to electrical outages. The Department of Water and Sanitation is sitting there. How are we responsive in terms of ensuring that there is a delivery of quality water to our communities, as well as the waste collection in terms of cleanliness of the city. While infrastructure is sitting at about 50%, and it's one area that we must look at, so that there are necessary interventions, and these are the areas where we are tightening accountability and accelerating interventions. We are also candid about the performance. That performance is under pressure, and that the purpose of monitoring is to identify bottlenecks early, apply support when needed, and enforce consequence management where performance is unacceptable. So on service delivery highlights, in Q2, we have strengthened coordination and oversight through practical programs such as the customer relationship management open days activations, where our teams, they go to communities on selected days and be able to make interventions there, offer services to our people, the elderly, with those open days. But also, because we are one government, the G13 priorities, which are carried by, announced by the Premier, some of the programs there, they relate directly to local government. And that is why we've got G13 Friday campaigns, and also the mayoral outreach programs, because government must be visible, must be responsive, and must be accountable to communities. And these are programs really that ensures that we are there, out there to communities. And they further strengthen the mayoral outreach, where the mayoral committee continue with public participation, during Q2. Just on the A2 electricity tariff, for instance, we've gone to communities to engage them, and we've agreed in terms of how we must manage that. In addition, we held about 11 public meetings in various communities where we reported to various service issues, and areas that we visited, they include Jimiston, Etwatwa, Kempton Park, Brakpan, and Benoni. Successes recorded during the outreach includes closing illegal shops in Etwatwa, removing illegal electricity connections, clearing stormwater drainage system, and general bylaw enforcement. So, one of the areas that we felt now that we've reported about, we've given highlight on the service delivery is the update on MMC Mgwevu. And we want to acknowledge this matter that has weighed heavily on our city in recent days. Councillor Andile Mgwevu, our MMC responsible for roads and transport management, remains missing following the flooding in Chokwe area in Mozambique. And to the Mgwevu family and other affected families, we are with you. We know there are no words that can soften this uncertainty. But please know that you are not alone. As the political leadership of Ekurhuleni, we are holding on in your thoughts and prayers, and as we ask residents to extend the same support, the same compassion and respect as well, for privacy of the families during this difficult time. The latest update we can give to you is that the mission, because we continue to interface with it, has managed to also meet up with the survivor. I'm not sure whether that's the right word to use, but for the lack of a better word, in the incidents involving MMC Mgwevu in Mozambique, and the emergency travel certificate, ETC, has been facilitated and handed over to enable him to travel back to South Africa. And the authorities in Mozambique have indicated that the search and rescue operation are still underway. Furthermore, a mission has established the names of the other victims who were with MMC, and they are all from the Springs area, KwaThema, Ekurhuleni in Gauteng province, and we will allow DECO and other national structures to release this information once the next of kin have been notified. On the previous commitments that we have made, we continue to track some of the commitments and ensure that they are implemented as we have committed in our previous engagement with you, the media. The city has made progress in addressing some of the serious allegations of misconduct and governance lapses as recorded in the ongoing Madlanga Commission. For instance, the 55 police officers who were alleged to have been promoted unlawfully. A full review of the promotion has been completed. The review has identified some irregularities, and as a result, we are also looking at a more detailed investigation that is currently underway, and we will be reporting to Council shortly. Furthermore, after a meeting we had with IPID last year, the city found it prudent that we must improve systems in place in the areas of discipline, not just discipline, but also in the areas of upskilling and ensuring that there is a continued support with capacitation and building a more resilient and determined team in our police. The last area that we want to reflect on is the News 24 reports, because over the past few days, News 24 published reports and commentary mainly by journalist Mr. Sikonati Manjanja, which seeks to link me as the executive mayor to matters relating to murder of DJ Bongani Mfihlo and also a broader Mr. Mfolo investigations. And let me be direct that I reject the insinuation and any suggestion that I have interfered with, influence or sought to derail any investigation in the strongest possible terms as a law-abiding citizen, but most importantly, as a leader in the city, as a person who's committed to deal with the wrath, and I've demonstrated that I've been at the forefront of actively dealing decisively with some of the wrath. I view this as a serious matters that require a thorough investigation that must lead to successful prosecution of anyone found to have been behind any of these killings. And this is not the first time. I've been on numerous occasions advocating for justice, and that is exactly why these processes must be handled through a proper legal process, not speculations or trial by headline, because these are active South African police investigations. When you say active, for instance, Mr. Mafole, his tragic demise was on the 30th of June. Already on the 21st of July, an arrest was made. And there's been a consistent interaction with the South African police services in relation to this matter. So we will continue to respect the due processes, cooperate where required, and allow the law enforcement to do its work. We also call on the public and commentators to avoid drawing conclusions that could undermine the integrity of the investigation or prejudice the outcomes. In the meantime, I have consulted with my legal team, and we are considering the appropriate steps to protect both the integrity of the due process and my reputation and the reputation of the city while the investigation continues. I now turn to the matter of the chemical toilets tender. And in this regard, an internal audit report, probity, which was conducted as part of the supply chain finalization of award of this program, which is an administrative process. But now, because there's been a lot of smear campaign around it, we have then requested that the report be submitted to council for scrutiny soon. And once it is tabled through proper governance processes, it will be made public. We have nothing to hide, and we have trust that the public or the truth will prevail, and those responsible, for any crime will be brought to the book. From where we're sitting, we do want to speak against smear campaign purported to be investigative journalism on issues that are before the police. Because it's one thing when you get to what is before the police, you somehow get whatever that you get, you present it as investigative journalism. And I'm sure journalism means you go and work and package whatever and come back and report it. But also you report truthfully without, smearing or distorting any of the information that we're coming across. And you would know that ever since we took a decision to implement consequences, there's been a fight back. There's been pushback, largely in the social media. Some of these people that have been driving this, we've taken them to court, and have decided now to, really change their platforms to continue with their, smearing campaigns. Now, I want to conclude. Those who have been on the receiving end of our firm consequence management, they are now working overtime to undermine our efforts, using social media to spread disinformation, peddling falsehood to journalists, and seeking to destabilize the city. But one thing that we want to put across is that we're not going to be distracted. We will neither tire nor retreat from our renewal agenda to fix local government, to fix Ekurhuleni. We will stay the course, we'll act decisively, we'll protect the due process, and we'll keep building the city that works with honesty, with accountability, and service delivery that residents can see and feel. And as the brilliant John Echitenge once said, and I want to quote him, the beneficiaries of corruption and state capture will not give out without a fight. And in this case, the beneficiaries of a rot in Ekurhuleni, they will not give up without a fight. And the warning speaks to the current environment we are faced with in the city of Ekurhuleni. Thank you very much, Zoli. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. We'll now take questions. You introduce yourself. I know we know each other, but just for the sake of record, we just introduce ourselves at the media house we come from, and then we ask our question. I see you there, Mfanelo, Baba, Hlegazi. let's go in that direction. Starting with the fund.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Staff of this. My name is Mfanelo. I'm from Thembisa Online News. Thanks, Mayor, for touching the matter which you are looking at, making sure that the billing makes you making sure which is your right and the culture of payment. I just wanted to find out, is there an update in terms of the electricity surcharge, which was suspended in Thembisa? If we can get a report on that and how far are we? And also, there's this perception from the community of Thembisa that says Thembisa looks like the #1 paying township in Ekurhuleni. They feel that they are also paying for other townships. I just wanted your words in that. And also finally, the cemeteries, the state of cemeteries in Ekurhuleni, especially in Thembisa. Are we seeing them being attended anytime soon in terms of making sure that they are clean? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mayor Lady Jones from ENCA. Just on the matter of the murders of DJ Bongani Mfihlo and of course Mfanelo, the article by News 24 places you at the crime scene. Can you confirm with us whether on that night the DJ was murdered, you were there? Did you go to the crime scene? Were you on the crime scene? Thank you.
Done.
The allegation that has been made by News 24 is that one of your security detail is behind the alleged shootings or the silencing of Bongani Mfihlo as well as Paul Mfanelo. Kindly explain to us if your protectors are implicated in the assassination or the murder of the individuals.
Oh, yes.
I'm Rian Danga from the SAPC. Mayor, I just want to find out what some sort of measures that are put in place to protect auditors or investigators that are investigating sensitive cases by the City of Ekurhuleni.
What's the name? Luanda.
Cindy Sontabati from the Conviction Online. Mayor, just as you were stating right now, you also highlighted that there's been a bit of a pushback from people you seemingly have acted against. Could you maybe highlight in terms of how that pushback has been into the city?
See, what's her name?
Cindy Sontabati.
Cindy, sir.
Executive Mayor, over to you. Those are the only questions.
No, thank you. The billing, we did the public participation. It pointed at disapproval across, and hence we have deferred it for further public participation. So it means in this financial year, the surcharge is not applicable. So we'll have to identify, areas of saving to actually make up for that financial gap as a result of us not implementing this surcharge. So there's ongoing budget adjustment processes led by the MMs of Finance and also, the next budget. So I'm sure as we go to public participation around the end of March or early in April, we'll then be having those conversations again with our communities. And we must appreciate the paying communities and encourage them to continue to pay and encourage those who are not paying that they must also pay. We appreciate the communities of Thembisa, one of the township that is really determined. The culture of payment is what we really appreciate. And all what we have to do in return is to ensure that we give services, to those that are actually paying for services. And those that do not pay because of financial constraints, we also give them services and then they also queue for for interventions. But others, we must intensify the control and ensure that we get them to pay. And the state of cemeteries, we must try and catch up. I know that the teams, when we close for December recess, the teams are in parks, in cemeteries, they close because they are not essential services. What is essential services? Electricity, water, we must keep some teams available even during December recess. And with the rainy season, the teams, I know that they were back from the 5th, and then they have a catch-up plan, including to attend to grass cutting in cemeteries, starting with the active cemeteries and move to some of the non-active cemeteries. So it's an area that we're paying eye on. But we've noted some of the concerns in this area. And as I've indicated before you, that part of this report is not just for us to report about it. It's for us to be able to effect corrective measures. And where there's been consistent non-performance, it's one of the areas that we want to elevate for conversation, even with the leadership, to say, we are now half year into the year. We're gearing ourselves for this year. We have been directed that it is a year to fix local government, and we must quickly be able to fix, some of these things so that we don't have continuously, this problem. It does impact on the electoral outcome. The people who are coming out, if there's no visible and impactful service delivery, partly because people are not convinced with the service delivery at their disposal in their own areas. So we must look at this area. So it places you at a crime scene. I don't know what does that mean, because we have invited everybody. Like now we're here. We've invited everybody. We go out. Every month I have had a press briefing. I have been to all the mediums. I've visited ENCA a couple of times. I've visited SABC a couple of times, newsroom. I've been to almost all the radio stations. I've had interviews with City Press, with News 24 on various topics. Now, including issuing invites, because there was one around early in November, a video that went viral. For instance, it said the mayor decided to, by Mr. Manjanja, it said the mayor lied about what Mr. Mfanelo was investigating. He was not investigating the billing problems, but the billing problems in Ekurhuleni were investigated by an accounting firm. Now that's very lame and very because an accounting firm, because of cyber capacity, it's a panel that exists within the department. Do you get me? It exists within the Department of Audit of Forensic. It is utilized to add capacity. It's like closing a pothole, right? It's not me who closed the pothole. Even if I get a service provider to close, it is still me who is actually, responsible for that. I'm saying you would not understand really and that is why we resorted to consult, legally, because we're talking about people who do not come to our engagements, but they continue to perpetuate a narrative. So I do not know what is meant when you say it places you at a crime scene. What we know is that there's an ongoing active investigation. The detectives that are heading this investigation, they've been in this office many a times, engaging with ourselves. We've been to various meetings to actually give leadership and ensure that these investigations are resolved and the perpetrators are brought to book. Bali, one of your security detail is behind, Bongani, Mfihlo, and Mpoma Mafole. My security details are known by everybody. I drive with my guys. Now, the guys who committed the murder are behind the suspects are behind the bars as we speak. So there's an ongoing police investigation unto them. And why we want to distort an active investigation? What is the interest? And that is why, and this is not new, as I've indicated to you, that since March last year we've been battling distortion, misinformation. We've taken some of the people who've been, canvassing and to court. We've taken the court, judgment has been made, and then they found another platform to continue, same narrative, same thing. Nothing that has changed. Now, we just want to assure the members of the public in Ekurhuleni that the people who've been arrested, they don't work for the city. They've never worked for the city. They don't belong to any security program. We've got VIP protection under EMPD. We also have security programs that are under EMPD that protects our facilities. And none of them, of those people actually work, for the city of Ekurhuleni. If they've got information, they must submit it to the police. Not a campaign in the media. If you've got information, submit it to the police, and it is for the police to actually account about the status of their investigation. And I'm sure some of these questions you should be able to pose them before the police, because I'm not at liberty to also talk about the content that is before an active police investigation. But what I know is that, what I can say to you for sure, is that my security details are known, and they are not in jail. They are not arrested, and they've never been arrested. What are the measures to protect investigators? We do risk assessment in the environment, from time to time. Threat and risk assessment, it is done, and accordingly there is a provision of security. But of course, it's dependent to the available capacity. But all the critical areas, it's not just the mayor, the city manager, but all other critical officials are provided for with the security. So how is the pushback done? Various intimidation, including our own officials internally. If you are on suspension, please go to the DC. People have not gone to DC since March when they were suspended, but they can run media campaigns across. Go to the DC. State your side of the story, not through faceless people and media campaigns. So I think that is important, and because the city is determined, it's got establish disciplinary processes. In fact, let me not say DC, industrial relations processes. They are well established, where you can actually even ventilate, your issues there. So I thought, Tembisa, that you should cover, because if you target the mayor, you want to tarnish the mayor, and you think you're gonna, distract the mayor from the good cause of leading this city, it's not going to happen. We're even more determined to continue with our work. In fact, one of the areas that we are considering now is to get the SIU, the Special Investigation Unit, to look into the ICT matters. Because while there are internal investigations that are well underway, there are these efforts. Of course, maybe they are meant to derail and defocus the internal work that we're doing. But with the amount of problems that we're sitting with in the ICT area, we are considering that we must elevate it so that there is a focused intervention by external body, so that we then get, all our systems in a proper order. We are sitting now with revenue collection in the area of fines, for instance, that has been compromised because of systems that have actually been changed. Now, if you're going to push back the mayor, for whatever reason, or weaken the efforts to effect corrective measures, we have to get some other external parties to actually look into these areas so that there can be certainty in our communities that the cleanup of the road in Ekurhuleni is not going to be derailed.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. Colleagues from the media, I'll take one last question from you, Mfanelo. One last one. Let's not repeat that which we already asked. And like the mayor has indicated, some of these issues are before the court, some of these issues are being investigated by police. So let's just limit our questions towards something that is more reasonable, that you can actually share with us. So I'll start with you, Pule, Bali, and UPhenyibheshu. And this is the last round, colleagues. If you want to have a one-on-one, and the mayor is available, I'm sure we'll be able to arrange that.
Yeah.
My colleague is there, Matolo, will be able to facilitate that process and no tool. Let's go.
Mayor, mine is just simple. I just obviously just want to establish an answer of yes or no. On the night the DJ was murdered, were you at the crime scene or not? Did you interact with him or not? That's all I just want to establish. Thank you.
Mbali.
I would like to ask a question in relation to the type of investigations that Mfanelo was investigating at the time of his passing. News 24, Media 24 has asserted that the investigation was not into the 2 billion rand shortfall, but into the toilet chemical investigation. Can you just clarify as to what exactly was Mfanelo investigating?
Thembisa.
Mayor, you just touched at the end there on the SIU being invited to look into the ICT matters of the city. We've been looking at it as conviction online since inception because of what has been happening with the legal matters, the contract and so forth. I want to just get a perspective of is this to try and add on what has been happening, and maybe clarity will happen in terms of exactly the transitioning and the data that got lost, and did the individuals that were holding the city's information eventually give access back to the city on that matter?
Yeah, look, can I come? Yeah, look, these are, active investigations, as I've indicated. The extent within which we can go in terms of the detail at this stage. Unfortunately, the mayor, I can say so many things, and people, they then refer to, the mayor said this thing. They go around, running campaigns about the mayor said this and this and that. So let's allow the process of the investigation to proceed. all what I wanted to affirm here is that there is a smear campaign, and people who should be going to the police if they've got new information, but because they do not have any new information, they take what they are able to get before the police and distort it, and they go to the media or run, to the paper and do whatever that they are doing. They have not been to this office yet. We've made an invite. They've asked questions, and those questions we've answered. And there's been a bit of a distortion as well. We answer something, they ask it differently, they ask a different question, we answer it, but what they say, what they write finally on paper, it's something else. So that's why we're saying we rather not say much, because we're also considering a legal action on some of these matters, but also to allow the police processes to unfold without, us being accused of tampering again or trying to influence the direction within which this investigation should go. But what we just want to emphasize before your good self is that we remain undeterred, we remain focused on the job at hand, and that job at hand is to get this city to function. As you have heard with the results that we have actually delivered, the city is functioning, and what is before me at my disposal that needs to be strengthened, I get to strengthen it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. Colleagues, this brings us to the end of the session. Thank you very much.